afternoon. Happy New Year. Welcome back to WithSONAR. My name is Caitlin Glasgow, Customer Success Manager here at SONAR, and welcome back. Happy New Year. This webinar is designed to help explore tools and use cases to enhance your overall SONAR experience. The last episode, we went over our new SONAR truckload datasets, which is an enhancement to the same tender data you know and love. And this week, I'm going to highlight our multi-lane pricing tool with downloadable results to help enhance your short-term pricing strategy. So with battery intelligence, I will share my screen. Battery intelligence can be found under your applications at the top of your screen. It's going to be by our single lane pricing tool, Rate Intelligence. This is an add-on, so if you do not currently have access with your subscription, please reach out to your account manager to explore this further. But if you do have access, you'll be able to pull it up under the Applications tab again. Now, if you have previously uploaded a file, you will see that file already displayed within the UI. If you have not used the tool before, if it's your first time, you would click on Download Template, easily fill out the lanes that you're looking to upload data on, and then upload the file. Just make sure that you upload it as a CSV file, and then you will get real-time market rates and information. Now, if you prefer, you can fully utilize the tool within the UI. You can adjust what you view within the UI to really cater this down to your specific needs. You can toggle between flat rates or rates per mile. Both of these are going to be inclusive of fuel. If you forget a lane or just want to add a one-off lane, you have the ability to do so under Add New Lanes. And then also you have this refresh button. Majority of our data sets are going to be updated on a daily basis. So to ensure that you have the most recent data, you'll want to confirm that this date is current, and if not, you would click the refresh lanes and it will update for you. Now into the actual data that we're displaying in the tool. So you will see the mileage, origin, destination, and equipment type. This is all the information that you've provided that you would like to get data on. From there, we have our current track spot rates. So these are going to be real-time rates from brokers that are paid to the carrier as of yesterday. So you can see how rates are truly trending in the market. So that current average, high, low, week over week change. And then if you have access to contract rates, these are also an add-on. So if you do not see contract rates listed, again, please reach out to your account manager. But these rates are going to be shipper to service provider rates. So shipper to carrier broker, those will be listed there. So you can see at first glance, okay, are spot rates trending higher on this lane? Are contract rates higher on this lane? You know, is this something I should work to contract? You can really see one picture there. Now, what is really going to set us apart is the ability to view market conditions along with these real-time rates to ensure that you can make an informed decision. So we have our lane score, which is going to be a score from 0 to 100 from how difficult to easy it is to secure capacity on the market for this lane. So this is going to be more of a long-term capacity indicator. So if you are pricing options for a yearly basis, quarterly basis, this is what capacity market conditions are looking like. So this is going to be a 3-month look back, and you can see, okay, if I'm going to the market on this lane, is it going to be difficult? Is it going to be easier? Maybe I can price it a little more lower or competitively to win this business because I shouldn't have issues securing capacity on this lane. And then with the more difficult lanes, okay, do I have a good network on this lane? Is this something that I think I can buy close to market, know that I'm not going to struggle on, that I want to work to contract in? Then we have our rejection index. And this is going to be that short-term capacity indicator. This is the carrier sentiment for the market and the percentage of freight being rejected. This is going to be updated on a daily basis, so it's reflective of current capacity conditions. So you can easily see our rejections lower on this lane where carriers are taking everything they're being tendered, and I shouldn't have higher rates on this lane. Or our rejections really elevated like they are on this lane where it's going to be more expensive, capacity is tighter, or really need to make sure I have a good network or I have some extra margin for the short term on this lane. So this is what you can currently view within the UI. And again, you can edit that view with the gear at the top. Now, how most users are going to utilize this tool for their RFP pricing is to download this data out of the UI, which you can easily do here. I already have a download pulled up, so I will share that with you now. And then you will view the information within an Excel spreadsheet so that you can adjust the format that you need to return in your RFPs. Now, you cannot adjust what is exported. We are going to export all of the data that we have available with the tool, but from there, you can clean up the file to ensure that you have the information you're looking for. So with the columns, a lot of this information up until column M is going to be the information that you've provided. So the date that you uploaded, the lane ID that you were using, mileage. We do always recommend using your mileage if you have it, just in case your mileage differs from ours or your customer mileage does. City, state, and zip code. You can fill out the city, state, or a 3 to 5 digit zip. And we do have Canadian rates available on a contract basis within this tool. Now, if you go over to column M, that is where you will start getting our real-time market information. So anything marked track is going to be the current spot rate. We will return this rate to you in a rate per mile or a flat rate. That way you have the option to choose how you would like to view the rate. Do you have to return this in a rate per mile? Can you quote it as an all-in flat rate? So you will have access to both. So if you just want to look at the rate per mile, you can remove all of the flat columns from this file. Now, the rates are going to be exported inclusive of fuel. So let's say you need to subtract fuel for the specific bid that you're doing. You can insert a column and simply do a formula to subtract that fuel out and get the rate that you're needing. We will return the high, low, and average of the current spot rate for you. So if you feel like your network is more in line with the high rates and that is what you want to price based off of, you can easily remove the other ones so that you are just looking at those high rates that you need to return back. We will also give you the 7-day average and the 28-day average and those fluctuations for how the rate has moved in that time period. So you can easily see if there have been any shifts with what rates are doing currently and what they were doing a month ago, especially when you're working on that longer term pricing that you want to return. You want to make sure that you can see any shifts. So you're not locking in rates that are really fluctuating. So if you can look at the spread between the two, you're like, okay, as long as I'm priced around this, I should have a little room to make sure that I'm not just losing money on this lane. If you keep scrolling over, we will also give you the metadata. So we have a confidence score, which is a score from 1 to 5, and it's essentially how confident we feel on the rate and how much density we have on it. So a score closer to 5, we are not expanding far from the origin, destination, or the time period for the rate that we're returning. Whereas a confidence score closer to 1, we're having to expand a little further out from the origin, destination, and the time period. Now, we have this because we do have a 5-25 rule for our spot rates, where we require at least 5 contributors and they can't control more than 25% of the volume. This ensures that you're getting a good representation of the overall market and we're not just showing you rates from one provider. But we'll be really transparent with that, how far we're expanding out, total shipments, and the time period so that you can feel confident about the rate that you're using. Now, if you have contract rates, we will give you the same information. We provide it in a rate per mile and a flat rate, still including that fuel surcharge. We'll give you the high end, the low end. So if you know you're more in line, you have both options to choose from. We will tell you again how those rates have fluctuated so you can see if there's been any significant shifts. This one is a longer 90-day look back, which is great. So you can see what current contract rates are doing, what they were doing 3 months ago, to see if there is a lot of fluctuation on these rates that you want to get ahead of, or make sure you're giving yourself a little wiggle room so you're not just losing money hand over fist. With the ability to pull all these different rates, if you find that your rate is somewhere in between the contract rate and the spot rate, or in the high end of both of those, you can easily create a formula within the spreadsheet to calculate something in the middle between that rate that is more in line with your network. We will also provide a confidence score on those contract rates so that you can feel confident using the data. You'll see how much data density, how far we're having to expand, total shipment volume we're looking at. That way, if you see that there's a confidence score closer to 1, you can remove that if you don't feel confident in using that. Now, what I really like to look at when I'm exporting this out is going to be those market conditions that really set us apart from just being another rate provider. So in addition to giving you, those current spot rates, those contract rates, we're going to give you those long-term and near-term capacity conditions so that you can adjust accordingly to your rates or your network. I would recommend, if you create a filter on this, to filter by, okay, I'm going to just look at those easier lanes to cover. So when you think of that lane score being on the easier end, those are easy to cover from a market perspective. So every broker is going to know that, okay, we can secure capacity on that lane. Carriers love hauling this lane. Therefore, pricing on it is going to be more competitive. You need to be more in line with market or below market to win business on that lane. However, those that are more difficult to cover, not everyone wants this. They don't have a good network. They don't have capacity on those lanes. So if you know that you're a carrier that operates heavily out of these more difficult to cover lanes, that is where you can price a little higher, have the upper hand to win that business, because not everyone's fighting for that same lane. Same for brokers. If you have a good network that you know you can buy at or below market, or not, you just have capacity in general, work to use those difficult lanes to your advantage. And then rejections, if you have more short-term or near-term opportunities, using the rejections on the lane to see, okay, I need to have a little more markup on this lane. It's not a super desirable lane. Capacity is tighter on this lane. I need to make sure I price accordingly. So rejections, again, are going to be a leading indicator for spot rates. So when rejections are high, capacity is tighter, rates are higher. And when rejections are low, capacity is not as tight, rates are lower, so you can work to drive down rates out of those markets. So if you're seeing a rejections of 30, yes, it's more difficult to cover. If I have a spot lane last minute, I'm going to need some markup on that lane to make sure I can secure capacity. This tool is available again under options if you currently have access to our batch rate intelligence. If not, please reach out to your account manager. We would love to talk through this with you further, especially as we go into Q1. This is great to utilize in RFP season to ensure that you have real-time rates and market conditions to help with your pricing decisions. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at cs@gosonar.com or your account manager to discuss further. I hope you enjoyed this episode of WithSONAR. As always, if you have any requests for future tools you would like to see, you can leave them in the comments below. And I hope you have a great week.